Today's video, we will talk about the persona, the social mask that you wear every day, looking at the lighter aspects, how this can protect you, how this helps you adapt to the world, and also the darker aspects where it may be repressing you and keeping you away from these authentic character traits that give you a spark, a light that remind you that you have a soul and you have a purpose here. So let's first start off with a quote by Carl Jung. He says, "The persona is a complicated system of relations between individual consciousness and society. Fittingly enough, a kind of mask designed on the one hand to make a definite impression upon others, and on the other to conceal the true nature of the individual." We can see that there is this need to fit in and to conform, to feel really safe in the world. And this is where we see the persona manifest within fads. And you can sensibly experience another person through their attachments to, the makeup, the looks, the glamour of life, the car. It's really fitting in and feeling so safe within society's standards. And so the persona just builds and develops off of this need to be adaptable. And really that just reveals that the ego is kind of behind the scenes, although the persona is a functional complex. It kind of runs by itself. The ego still is behind the scene and it creates the persona mask because it so badly just wants to feel strong and confident and honored and loved and seen. So, it really builds this beautiful um, adaptation to reality, and the persona manifests in just many different ways. But we can also see through this quote that he says, on the other hand, to conceal the true nature of the individual. So, this skin suit that we wear that has characteristics and an attitude, it's really built off of this complex system. It's, in a way, suffocating the soul's expression to be all that is because it does want to feel so safe with the external environment. So it kind of reduces and represses the internal world because it's so focused on this external. And this is where we can be a little confused in who we are and what we want, in what my voice is and what your voice is, because a lot of things are kind of meshed together with this mask because it has to play out a specific role. Now, the key factor in this work to really feel honored with wearing the persona, because it's so needed, but it's also something that may be a little bit more, again, repressive. So to pull in the energies, to feel like, hey, I can have this persona and this persona and this one, and I can wear all of these, is that we're not supposed to identify with our persona. We can put the mask on and act out the role, but we can also go home, take off the persona, and come back to maybe a more neutral place that's not so charged with that specific energy. This is what Murray Stein, in his book Map of the Soul, he goes over this whole study on Jungian psychology. I made a recent video about 100 books that I read, and it's in there, so check that out. But he talks about, having an adequate persona and how it's so great that we can put this face on for the world, but we can also take it off and unwind. And we're not so identified and enmeshed with this specific role. We can be many different roles as long as it's a true expression of the personality, right? It's a genuine and authentic expression of the core of the personality. And I almost envision, as I'm saying this to you right now, that we all have this reservoir of soul energy, of our core self, which is the really, it holds the polarities, and it is just so full of this, endless amount of compassion, while honoring both the light and the dark. And this is actually something that the personas can still be built off. And yes, the ego is involved, but the ego is kind of like that filter through which the new personas that are a little bit more refined and adaptable and mature and still loving, like it can really be a refined persona. So I'm kind of envisioning that we do have this core that can produce the personas appropriately to be the best and most adequate persona, depending on the experience that we're in. So, I just have a couple of questions for you that you can dive into in case you're curious about, what is my persona? What is the psychology behind this? What are my behaviors and attitudes? Why do I put this mask on every day? That's ultimately why I wanted to create this video. So, let me ask you these questions and then you can be on your way. So, I have, how do you feel living as this persona? And again, it's adaptable. It's so adaptable that it's constantly changing. So, depending on your experience, you'll probably put on a new persona, but it's tuning into the sensations of the body. How do you feel living with this? This is where somatic work is just so good. And then I have, how does it serve you in fully expressing yourself? Right? How does it serve you and maybe being able to take on certain roles that are a little bit more out of your nature? It may make you feel uncomfortable, but being able to put on this persona, um, it may just shift something within the psyche that, hey, I am capable of standing up for myself and of speaking this way and of setting boundaries, but I am also capable of wearing this other persona where I can be softer and more gentle and more open, right? Like it's really asking that question. How does this serve you in expression? And how does this deny you? How does this mask deny more of your authentic character traits? How does it make you feel less than or feel unfaithful to more important parts of you? I leave those questions for you to ponder on. I hope this video has supported you. Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video.